Welcome to Akul Mac Live, friends. And we are now sitting on a cusp of starting a wave, which we call third wave, at least in India, where there is a lot of new type of corona strains have been found. And because of that, again, we are getting into a situation where a lot of restrictions are going to come. We are all looking forward towards these restrictions, especially starting from travel bans. Within India itself, there has been travel ban between states, and each state has come out with their own guidelines. But funny enough, as the life was coming to normal, the Indian government announced opening of their aviation to rest of the world. Within 24 hours, they were forced to shut down every traffic, air traffic, and they've also initiated compulsory quarantine for 7 days, whether you're positive or negative, even if you travel out of India. So this is disrupting a lot of plans. And to discuss this matter, I am joined by a very eminent, globally acclaimed speaker, Mr. Kevin Cottam, and he's joining us from Singapore. And he's also CEO of Nomading Private Limited, PTE Limited, as they call it in Singapore. So, without further ado, let's welcome Kevin to the show.
Hello, Chanda. It's great to be here with you again. It's always wonderful to hear your subjects. You know, you really are on the top of things.
Absolutely, Kevin. So, today we want to discuss what is the impact of this new wave, which is now being talked about across the world, and all countries shutting down their airspace, which will hinder people from traveling from one border to other border or even transiting. And within India, as I said, there is a lot of restriction from one state to other, and the tests are compulsory in some cases. So this is again putting a spanner to our plans of growing our business, implementing new plans, sometimes travel plans, personal plans. All of those are now getting hindered and disrupted. What is your opinion on those?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's really interesting how every country is taking a different focus on this and also their implementation. And I think that's one thing the IATA, which is the International Association of Tourism and Travel. And so what I think that one of the things that is really interesting is they say, well, you know, that every country is taking their own tact, and it's very confusing to all travelers. And it's not that everyone is closing the borders, but they're finding another way of either they're either sharing that there's more lockdowns, or they're sharing more restrictions, or they're showing more entry requirements, and whichever. And so this is becoming a real challenge. I remember just in this last week, because I planned to travel actually on Monday, of which I have changed my plans, but I was waiting and waiting and waiting for over a week to find out what Canada was going to do with their incoming international travelers, even Canadians who are fully vaccinated. And so now it's taken them over a week and a half actually, to start implementing what they had said they were going to do, which was then to test everyone that came into the country, and then for them to self-isolate for 3 days until their negative result came out, if it was such a thing as a negative result, and then they could go on. However, every country is slightly different. Here in Singapore, they have created an entry where you have to do 7 days of testing. There has to be a PCR, I believe, on entry, but then along the way, every day you have to do an ARTS test, an antigen test every morning to see it's negative. Then you can go about your work. And then on day 3 and 7, you need to be able to go to another organization which will test you properly, I suppose. But I think what's happening with all of this is creating a lot more fear yet again as to what is Omicron. And nobody really knows what the intensity of Omicron. And it's also its challenge to all people, as it's really, really worse than Delta. They say it's much more transferable, but we don't know yet. And I think that's the problem, is this knee-jerk reaction that we have to, we got to stop it because this is the way we're going to be able to control the incoming. But you know what? You're not going to control it completely. It's always going to come in. Somehow it's going to come in. And we have to be very cognizant of this fact that this is going to be on for quite some time. We just have to learn to be able to shift and to be able to change and adapt to the new changes and on these organized the governments and their regulations and protocols, and then adopt them. But it means a lot of shifting and changing, and it also means losing money as well, because a lot of people may lose money on their tickets. They may lose money on the hotels, wherever they're going to go. It really is a difficult time. And I wouldn't say that everyone, even travel insurance, is going to pick up all of this. So you hear a variety of different messages from travel insurance people. You have a lot of different messages from people that are traveling. It's just, and of course it comes at the end of the year, which is this huge holiday season, which is a mega travel time, mega time to see family. And so consequently around the world, we're seeing all of these challenges. I decided to not go to Canada. Why did I decide? Well, first of all, I thought, let me step back and have a wait and see. I know it's going to spread very fast, but let the countries get into the spread and see what will happen. So I decided to wait it off for 2 months and see what will happen, and then head back to Canada. Plus, also, I was going to do an extra trip back long haul again to Singapore. But what that does is me delaying it. It also takes away one of the trips, which I'm happy about, because then I don't have to go through more protocols and more PCRs and more possibilities of, restrictions and more possibilities of having to self-isolate or to quarantine. Yeah. So I'm taking a place of wait and see and not get excited about it. And I think that we all have to in some way. I know that everybody's position is slightly different, but this is about understanding the flexibility that we need. COVID has asked us to be very flexible, even though it has really got on our nerves, and governments have got on our nerves with a constant change. And of course, with organizations such as, it's really been a difficulty for their growth as well. Supply chains, all of these things have been really put on a really difficult track. And plus also then that increases the inflation rate in countries. And so it's a knock on. And I think with all of this, right, is that we need to also see how everything is affecting every stakeholder from wherever you are in yourself all the way to the very end. We never think about the whole span of the stakeholders that this is actually affecting, and on different levels and different degrees. And that's one of the things that I sense we don't look into enough. And that is part of understanding that everything is interconnected. We need to look at all of the effects all the way down the supply chain, all the stakeholders that are involved. And we need to be able to address all of those, even though that's difficult. However, that's where we are at this point in time, I think, is how do we address those? How do we deal with it ourselves personally? But then how is it affecting everyone else? And how do we see it? And that's why I think that we need to approach it from a very sort of nomadic mindset, as I talk about. And that's very flexible. That's very agile, is to take the very big view, the expansive view to start with, instead of a very narrow thinking, of which it drives us into. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. And we need to be able to just stay wide, relax, breathe. Yeah, we may lose some money. And I know friends that have lost a lot of money on their trips. And very disheartening, I have to say. However, what can we do? We have to just rest in where we are, I think, and to be able to just see it for what it is, because this is going to happen a lot more.
Well, Kevin, I think your decision of postponing your trip to Canada is shifted now. I think it's a good one, because you need to be safe. Better safe than sorry. I think that's the way I will put it. And I think you would have taken the open tickets so that you can minimize the losses. But I'm sure there are losses here in any travel, which does not happen. There'll be a lot of losses, definitely. I think there is a bigger loss also for people who have planned their activities, and they are not able to now carry on those plans. And I've also heard that the shipping traffic in the South China Sea has been reduced by almost 85%. Now, that is also a cause of concern because the Chinese South China Sea is always busy with supply chain, shipments, etc. And there is, the entire world supply chain is coming out of China and going all over the place. So there has been an 85% reduction in past 2 months in the South China Sea. There are many factors, but I think we need to be very worrisome about these things also. And as professionals, we have to be ready and think about alternatives now. So, what is your opinion in terms of building the alternatives, considering that the pandemic is going to last for some more years?
Well, I think that one of the things, I don't know about you, Chandra, but from what I have felt and for myself, is that it's really made me think of multiple strategies and multiple plans, and that we need to say, okay, if this doesn't work, what will this work? And we need to be able to agile, to be quickly to shift from one thing to the next. And that's what the problem is with a lot of big organizations, that they're not able to move fast enough and to shift and to be able to connect everything. Individuals and much more smaller companies and entrepreneurs are able to shift much faster. And it is really understanding multiple strategies. And that's, I think, from when I talk to a lot of different organizations and leaders and things like that, in large and small, they don't always look at the magnitude of multiple strategies and also the distance far ahead. I mean, we talked about short-term thinking and, quarterly reviews and all of this particular thing, but we need to see the horizon and look at the variety of possibilities, the variety of risks, and not just manage them, but to see them for what they are and to be able to leap from one to the next. It's like leaping from technology to technology, is we need to feel that leap. But at the same time, what are the multiple strategies? I mean, that for myself here with this particular one scenario, I had like 4 strategies. Well, if this didn't happen, then I would do this. If this didn't connect, then I would do this. And so I never used to think this way. I just would say, okay, here, this is the one, I'm doing this, I'm going here, and that's it. But no, now you have to think in different ways. Are we ready to shift and to think in this direction? And that, as I say again, comes from this mindset that we are put ourselves into now. We cannot think in an old operating mindset, which might have been just limited amounts of strategies. And we need to think that vastly. So that's my thought on it, is this multiple strategies, multiple plans, and go with one. And if it starts to move, be able to adjust very fast. What do you think?
Well, I think you are absolutely right, bang on. But the crux of the matter is that our plans are not working out. Even if I make 3 plans, parallel plans, we we have no idea which is going to be the plan which I can follow. I think that is where the confusion in most people today. They don't know what to do, and if person like you can help some of us and make the plan work for them, at least a short term plan like 6 months or 8 months, that will be a great help, because I think there's a lot of confusion. People are just staying put, not doing anything. They are not doing anything because they don't know which plan is going to work for them. This is my opinion, Kevin. Can you help in this regard?
I mean, I think that absolutely. I mean, the fact of the matter is that we don't know. And I think we should sit in the unknown. And I think that is the best place, to sit in the unknown, but to have some sort of strategies that will be able to help ourselves. And, that comes from the mindset, again, is that people aren't familiar with that, how to make a variety of plans or to be able to adjust fast enough. And this is a new practice for us. And with every new practice, it takes one step at a time. Many, things that have failed or we losses or whichever. However, we start to learn, okay, we need to be able to jump, to be able to leap, to be able to adapt, to not hold on. And that is the holding on. I want to hold on. Yeah, we can complain about it and we can get emotional about it. I was very emotional about it. But at the same point, I'm going, no, you need to be able to see multiple directions here. And all of them could be successful and all of them can be not successful. But you just need to be able to sit with them and understand the fluidity of them. Something is going to work. And if you just stay put, you stay put. And like I'm doing, but waiting for a moment, but waiting and with a strategy of looking and observing and listening to the environment of what's happening in the news and also travel and also what is happening with organizations and things like this. So, I mean, I know that's probably not giving a 3-point place, but all I can say is that I mean, at this point in time is for people to not hold on, is to set what you want to do and try to find multiple ways to get it done. And if it doesn't work, then to adjust or stay put. You have always a choice. And I think that's where we get mixed up. We say we don't have a choice. We do have a choice. We have a choice along the line with all of them. It may not be the choice that you want exactly 100%. However, it's a choice. And these are things that we can control our own choices. We cannot control what the government is going to do. We just have to adapt and to adopt it. And the problem is most of us have a challenge to do that because of our old thinking or our desires or our emotions, which are all wrapped up into it. So I say, sit back and breathe. I say, that sounds really silly at times, but the point is that what are you going to do? I mean, if you can't fly or if you have to go through all the loops and twirls, then you have to go through all the loops and twirls, as annoying as they are. However, remember what it is. Remember your intention. What is it that you want to have happen? If you want to travel, then you understand that this is what you're going to have. I mean, I've had to convince myself of that, and I've done that. But I've looked at all the factors as well. And they're rapidly changing. I just sort of sit and wait.
Well, I think you are making a lot of sense, and like you said that there are choices available today, and the only thing is that a person like you can understand the problem and provide a easy path or a path which is most appropriate for a person. So from that regard, if people who are watching our video, if they need any help in terms of planning, in terms of guidance, in terms of how to do things, they can write to us. The email will be published at the end of the video, and we will make the connection happen between you and Kevin, and you can take that discussion forward. So Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today on this very, very vital subject. And the whole point is that the pandemic is going to last. However, we need to live with it and also not to stop planning. We need to plan always our life towards the positive. Any last words you have for the viewers?
My last viewers are we are going into the holiday season, and it is really, for many people in the world, it's really about family and friends. No matter where you are, if you can't get with your family and friends, that there's always another way on the telephone, or there's also a Zoom. I know it's not the same as being able to hug and kiss them in a really close proximity, but you know, everybody is understanding. My sister, when I told her, she says, I really totally understand, and I think it's the best possible decision for you. So people are understanding, and I believe that they will accept. They're not going to say, oh, no, you didn't do it because you didn't want to. No, the love is still there. And so I want to share with you that my heart is with everyone on these, but we just need to also understand this is not going to go away soon. And that we will need to find different ways to be able to maneuver, to be able to move, to be able to think about these things and plan. And the human capacity is phenomenal. So we're able to do it. You just need to be able to think wide and not too narrow.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us in the show today. Wish you Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays in advance.
Same to you.
So, friends, we had such an interesting discussion with Kevin, and the email is published at the end of the video. You can write to us with your problem, or you just want to have connection with Kevin. We will make that happen. And I will say goodbye today, only to catch you in the next one.